And I told her, I don't care if he is her husband. Right now.
It's time to rise from the grave, pour yourself a cup, and enjoy the coffee crypt.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Crypt.
Good morning. Happy Sunday. What mug you got there before we...
Okay, so definitely have to shout this out. So I made this. It says, Kiss the Librarian. Bonus points to anyone who knows why I have this cup. There is an episode in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's a Thanksgiving episode where Spike needs blood. And so they put it in one of Giles's coffee cups. Giles is a librarian. So he has a coffee cup that's this color that says Kiss the Librarian. So
I love it. I love it. That is a deep cut reference. And I consider myself a Buffy fan. And I'm like, that was over my head.
So I have to tell you, the biggest motivation, really quick side note, for this cup was around Christmas time, Addie got me a Spike figurine who's holding the cup.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my God, no one would know what that was. That's perfect. I love it. So I made one.
That is so cute. I love
it. Yeah. So, and then what's on your cup?
Oh, well, so funny you should ask. You might recognize the logo. It's the Coffee Crypt logo.
Yay! Merch!
Available at a store near you. Yeah.
That's right.
Not available at the website.
Yeah, at our merch link. We'll start putting the link for that in the episodes, because you can get oh my gosh, stickers, magnets, pens, shirts, coffee cups, all kinds of stuff. Pants, I think, was one of the things. So the only reason when I get excited about something, I don't read the fine print, and they talk about ways to make it so that your logo works on like a lot of things. And so because our logo has white in it, or I'm showing it on mine, it's not on mine, it's on yours. So because our logo has white in it, I originally got, because I prefer metal tumblers like this. I had that as an option, but because there's white in the logo, it won't show up on the metal. So I have to redo a version of the logo where it's transparent behind it.
Yeah.
And then I will have a Coffee Crypt mug or cup eventually. But for right now, I at least stuck with the brand colors, and it is horror related.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of mugs and tumblers, you can also get shirts. This is our new official uniform.
We match for real now.
Yeah, it's exciting. Well, my mug kind of threw me out of focus. I'm like,
oh, you are a little. I have my glasses on. Everything's out of focus.
A little blurry. Hold on. If I go like this and then bring it back in, maybe.
I don't know.
Use
your hands.
Oh, wow. And seems a little bit better, but I don't know. Technical.
Better, right?
Seems a little. Maybe.
I think it looks better.
Yeah, I think so. Long week.
Agreed. Been a long few weeks. Yeah. But yeah. So now we have, so if you would like your own merch, it's available.
You can enjoy the show while matching us as well. And then take pictures and share.
Please do. And the shirts come in all kinds of colors too. I made sure that it was like a variety, because I feel like black is like such a horror t-shirt thing. And I have so many black shirts. So none of the merch stuff that I bought for myself is black, except the pants, because they only come in black, but nothing else is black. I got colors. My Found Footage Friday shirt is tie-dye. I was like, I'm not getting any more black shirts.
Horror can be bright and colorful too.
It can.
One of my favorite movies, Midsommar, can prove that. So
very bright movie.
Very bright movie. But yes.
Yeah.
So we have some trailers and news to talk about.
Yeah.
This week we got the first full trailer. I think we had a teaser before of The Nun 2. Yeah, we had a teaser, so this is like the first full trailer.
Yep.
Which is coming out September 8th. I know we've had some trepidation, not so sure. I know you're not a super fan of the lead in the original and the first Nun. And I know that the first Nun wasn't received well kind of across the board in general.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. Yeah.
What I was getting from this trailer, though, was a little bit of Annabelle Creation vibes. So I think there's hope, right? Because Annabelle Creation and then again Annabelle Comes Home kind of prove that you can kind of take a so-so first movie and then kind of improve upon it. It looks like the focus is going to be taken a little bit away from Taissa Farmiga. She's still there and present.
Yeah.
But the location is changed to this kind of all-girls boarding school.
Hence Annabelle Creation.
Hence Annabelle Creation, right? So because you had like that foster home,
orphanage kind of thing.
Orphanage, right? Yeah. So I just think a cast of kids just kind of like is fun. It's a way of like livening up a horror film. It kind of ups the stakes. There was some like really cool imagery there was one moment where I think it's with Taissa Farmiga. It's such a flash blink and you miss it scene where it's like Valak, but like super tall, like a kaiju Valak.
Oh yeah.
It just looked really cool and menacing. And then there's some stuff. I think the location just adds a nice like kind of refreshing. Like there's just more you can do. There's more characters, just more situations. But I'm curious, right? Because we've had the origin story. We had kind of the wrap up of Valak in The Conjuring, with Lorraine and Ed. So like, what else can they do? Right. I think it's like, that's kind of like what's the newness that they're going to bring to the table,
Yeah. Well, and I think with this trailer, it does appear like it's going to add some layers though. Like even though we got, the beginnings of it or whatever in the first Nun, it seems like this is going to add to that story. Like maybe we didn't get the whole picture, maybe because, there had been whispers, right, about Nun 2 when the Nun came out. Like there was already like, and I think Valak as an antagonist is great. I think Valak is scary. I think the woman who plays Valak is like what they're able to do to make her look scary works. I love the use of coming out of multimedia. So like, in The Conjuring 2, he comes out, Valak, I guess, is essentially male. He comes out of the painting. In this one, in the trailer, we get the flips of the books,
the magazine pages,
the outline. The magazines. That's right. I'm sorry, not books, magazines. And I really like this use of using these everyday things as these doorways. Essentially, I think that's a really cool concept. Yeah. I did not like Annabelle Creation. I kind of thought it was a snooze fest, but I think the things that I've seen in this trailer that I liked were some of the darker scenes where it's like setting you up for a moment that you don't get to see in the trailer, but is leading up to something scary happening. And like, I think that those ought to already look much better than some of the, the scares in the original. The first, honestly, the two weakest links for me in the original was the way they used the music. It was too much, too often. And I really don't like Vera's sister as an actress. I don't think she's compelling. I don't think she's engaging, and I don't find her believable. And that ruined a lot of things that I think if it had been someone else, it could have the first one would have been a lot better. So I'm hoping that if she is in it less, or even if she's not, that there's more to it than her typical whiny teenager persona, like from American Horror Story, where it's like she plays the same thing and everything. And then the music, I'm hoping, is better. So
yeah, I mean, I hope this is however many years later now. I mean, I think her as an actor will, like, as she gets older, and matures, I think, right? I think that take on a character will change, because she does get typecast, right? Like as kind of the whiny teenager.
Yep.
Unfortunately, as from her two American Horror Story characters, and
which doesn't fit the Nun storyline at all, though. No, and some of that, to your point, could just be writing.
I think so. I think it's a combination, right? I think it's what they give her, how she's, and she can only interpret it in so many ways, right?
And then how she's directed too.
But I think ultimately, like you said, I like that they didn't give away too many of the scares. I think there's a lot of lead up. So I think it was just like a smart trailer. I mean, they gave us the magazine scare. Unfortunately, I think that could have been a really cool surprise.
Well, I think we already knew, though. That's probably why. We already know what's going to happen because we've seen it in the painting. Yeah. So they're probably like, it'll be okay to give away one scare. And I think they chose the right one to give away if they were going to give any away. Yeah. Because that one's predictable.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's, again, like you said, it's a direct tie to the painting. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. So, but yeah, I think I mean, this is definitely going to be one that I try to check out opening weekend if I can. I resubscribed to my AMC A list, so I gotta use that while as often as I can to get my money's worth.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I have hopes. I want it to be. I love the Conjuring franchise, so I want this to be a good one. I really do. So. And Annabelle Comes Home, which was the third of the Annabelle movies, was my favorite one. So to your point, they've done it already. Like, it's totally possible they could do that again. So
right. Revitalize.
Yes. So our second trailer is, and I probably should have actually guessed this just from before I even watched it, but is a trans queer slasher, Bad Girl Boogey. This one's out now, right?
This is out now. Yeah.
Okay. So Bad Girl Boogey, just some like quick note, is by the same young woman who did So Vamp, which is on Shudder, which is also a trans queer vampire film. That's all I'm going to say about it because I'm going to come back to it later. But I really liked it. So when I started watching this, and all of that came up, I was like, damn, that name looks familiar. And then there's a specific character in the trailer for Bad Girl Boogey that looks like a character, like I've seen him before. And I was like, wait, I feel like that's the person from So Vamp. Anyway, and that's how I put the 2 and 2 together. Yeah. But yeah, we actually ironically were just talking about like queer horror and representation in horror. And it's something that I think we're both pretty passionate about and believe in and want to see more of. And I think, okay, so, slashers are not like my go-to thing. But what I love horror with a message. And they say multiple times in this trailer, this is going on and the police don't care about queer people being, murdered.
Yeah.
It's not a priority. And it's like, yeah, that fits. And so I love that. I love, you get a couple of these glimpses of these characters that are together and they find, I assume based on the trailer that it's somebody that they know is murdered. And it sets off this thing of like what's happening when these people are being murdered. And what I really liked about this one was, what is the movie that it reminded me of? Have you ever seen the movie Clown by Eli Roth?
Yeah. Yep.
So I think it's Eli Roth. So this concept that the mask takes over. Yeah. I think you got to hear my reaction to that because I was like, oh, like I love that premise because I really loved that about the Clown movie. I loved that it was this clown suit that like connected with you and like you couldn't get it off. And so now it's like,
yeah.
And so with this, at least this is the impression I got was that the mask, when it's connected to a person, they become this thing. And it's like, oh, like in the trailer, they say something like, oh, like the mask, traps you. It's like, no, it frees you. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So what did you think of this one?
Yeah, sold. I love horror with a message. I like, because I think there's so much history with the queer people gravitating towards the horror genre in general. For those that don't know, because it's very like, it's about, because it's a genre on the fringe. So it's not really always a genre that's respected all the time. Sure. And I think there's like just something inherently like just queer about that, of being misunderstood and like, kind of fighting the odds. There's definitely like the whole final girl motif. There's a lot to dissect there. So I like that, here we have a story where it's like queer people being specifically targeted. And, their cries for help being ignored. So it's people on the fringes who are being attacked. And I just think there's just something very powerful about that message. I mean, especially now, and I like that it's not just like, there's a bunch of like, and I don't mean this to kind of poo-poo on those movies, but there's a lot of like indie horror queer films that came out like maybe in the mid 2000s where it was very just kind of like surface level. It was just like a group of like gay white men being attacked, and there's like like this one feels like it's really encompassing like the entirety of the queer community and just like the diverse tapestry that it is. And
yeah, because it looks like you're getting different genders, different sexualities, different ethnicities. Like it looks like it's going to be, like you've said, a very well-rounded picture of what this looks like in reality. And it's that representation is like so, and so Vamp is the same way as far as having those layers of characters and visibility to all these different things. And
it has some like B movie elements to it, but I don't. But there were also some shots in it that I was like, "Ooh, that looks really slick." And I think the mask looks great. Like I said, I do love a haunted mask. I think of Goosebumps.
Oh, good Goosebumps! Yeah,
of, like being an OG haunted mask.
That was one of the first ones that ever actually scared me. Yes,
Carly Beth. Right? Isn't it? Was her name Carly Beth? Right?
That sounds right. Yeah.
I think,
that one was scary.
It was scary. But you know what? The thing that freaked me out the most, it wasn't even the mask. It was when they put the worm in her sandwich. Do you remember that part?
Oh, yeah.
The bullies? Yeah. And then she like ate a worm. Oh, I felt so bad. But like that was the one that got me the most. Because then I would like eat a sandwich and be like, is there a worm in there? Things that stay with us as kids. Like, that's what I picked up on.
True.
But yeah, no, I love, it looks like a fun time, but that's out now. So I literally like I might watch it as soon as we wrap up, just because I'm like, I need to, it's something I got to dive into.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so the next trailer we got is a film called The Flood, which is kind of one of my favorite subgenres, which is the alligator movie.
I'm here for it, yeah.
It actually looks pretty fun. I mean, it is a bit of a copy paste of like one of my favorites, which is called Crawl. And I think I've talked about it on this show.
I loved Crawl. Yeah.
Crawl is like, I dragged my husband to see it. He actually surprisingly loved it. We saw it in Florida where it takes place. And we were like, oh, what if we, it was but like, what would you do? But then we actually just recently rewatched it when we were in Florida with our moms and our son.
Oh my god!
And they loved it. But so it has that vibe where it's like it's kind of cops and criminals, and they're kind of stuck in a prison during a hurricane in Louisiana, and they're trapped, and gators get in, and they have to kind of fight for survival. And it's definitely got some like Sci-Fi Channel B moviness to it.
Yeah, there's a couple moments that are hella CGI gator, but that's okay.
Hella CGI gator, and CGI explosions.
Oh yes.
Is one. But it could be a fun time. I mean, there were some cool shots, especially as like kind of the water's gathering in the prison, and like I hope that there's some practical gator in there.
Yeah,
because I mean, Crawl used CGI gators too, but it was a little slicker CGI, a little more sophisticated.
True.
True.
But
I'm excited. What did you think about it?
I also really like alligators, sharks, like any type of animal, because they're not. I mean, I realize they're quote unquote monsters, but like any animal horror, I'm like here for. Like, and yeah, I also loved Crawl, and it is definitely copy and paste of the storyline, just in a different setting with more people. But I'm not really mad about it. I think it's probably going to be I think it's going to be really fun. I mean, I've seen what was the other one? There's another one called Rogue. Have you seen that one?
I don't think I have.
Where these people, it's the lady that plays the mom in Silent Hill. I cannot think of the actress's name that plays her, but she's in it. Oh. And she does like those boat tours on the Amazon, not the Amazon.
Like on the like the bayou, kind of like
kind of that bayou Amazon. Yeah. That's what I meant. And they get stranded, and there's like this very specific gator that like won't leave them alone, and they're on this like small patch of land, and they don't have anywhere to go. And it's very like to me, it's very. I think even though it's got some bigger names in it, is still pretty B film, but. I mean, I think when you're talking about animal movies like this, I don't really feel like there has to be a super high expectation. But yeah, I like the premise. I like that we're already getting like this weird sense of like safety, because now you've got people threat and you know, gator threat, and you got all these things. It's like, oh, so I think it's gonna be fun.
I think so, right? It's like have a drink, watch a movie, kind of like, you know.
And you could do it as a double feature. Watch Crawl first.
If it's really bad, maybe you want to watch Crawl second, get a little palate cleanser. Just in case.
That's fair. Listen to Steve. Do that. Yeah. Just in case.
Yeah, and this is just my obligatory go watch Crawl plug.
Do it. It's good. That's a good one. I liked it.
Oh man, and it's such a fast movie. It's only like 80-something minutes, I think.
It doesn't need to be any longer than that.
No. It's a fast-paced movie, but I think that it's brisk because I don't know how quick. I don't know how long the flood's going to be, but I think that was what I forgot the director's name. It was produced by Sam Raimi, but I forgot the director. But I feel like with a creature feature, you kind of need it to burn bright and fast. You know?
Yes, agreed. Totally agree.
Yeah. We got one more trailer.
Yeah, so this one I hadn't heard about until Steve told me about it. A Haunting in Venice, which comes theaters September 15th. So it's kind of weird, actually, though, that we're talking about this one because the woman that plays the blonde lead is, what's her name from Yellowstone? Oh, I forgot her name. Oh my God, what is her name? Well, anyway, she is also a mother character in a time movie or a period piece called The Curse, which is a werewolf film.
Is it Kelly Riley, right?
Yes, thank you. Yes, she plays the daughter in Yellowstone, who's married to damn, I can't remember none of their characters. Anyway, it's not important. It's not related. Well, it's sort of related, but it's not the point. Anyway, so but I just rewatched The Curse last night because it's like one of my newer favorite werewolf movies. And she plays a mother role in a period in a different time, similar to this, that I really loved. And I was just thinking yesterday, I would really like to see her in more horror settings because she did such a great job in The Cursed. And she's very well-rounded as an actress. Beth is her character in Yellowstone. And she's phenomenal in that too. And she's totally different. So she's got quite a range. So when she comes into the picture in the trailer, I was like, oh, I love her. I was so excited to see her in more horror stuff because she's just said she was so great in The Curse. But yeah, I mean, this looks like I feel like we didn't really get that much information, which I'm not upset about. Yeah. We kind of got an atmosphere and a couple of shots of a bunch of different people and a couple of ghosties, right? It starts out with a seance, it looks like, and then things go awry from there, like they do. And you know, there's a few times they mention things coming up like the secrets you can't hide from, and all these things will find you. And so it kind of makes me wonder what all these people are really all about. And I feel like we're probably going to get some villains. And I'm kind of curious to see how that story unfolds. Cause I don't think everybody in there is supposed to even know each other. So it should be all these like intermingled kind of scenarios anyway. So I think it looks pretty good though. What do you think? Yeah, no, I'm sold. So for those that don't know this, so this is a Hercule Poirot mystery. So this is in the same, so this is the same kind of story. It's an Agatha Christie novel. Yeah, so this is the same, like, you know, detective who, you know, Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile. Okay. That makes sense given what I just said. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So this is kind of like in that vein, but more horror. You know, which is fun. You know, it's certainly Agatha Christie kind of doing her mysteries, like certainly always kind of teetered in that horror vein with some of her stuff. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, the cast, like, Kelly Riley, but like Michelle Yeoh, I love Michelle Yeoh. Oh, Michelle, so much. And like, I know her from Star Trek, obviously Everything Everywhere All at Once. That's who plays the seance lady, whatever. Yeah. She's kind of got like that. I knew I recognized her, but I couldn't think of her name. Yeah, she's got like that short blonde 20s cut. But Jamie Dornan from, well, a lot of people know him from 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey. I knew him from Once Upon a Time. He was the huntsman in the first season. Oh, okay. That's fun. Still, kind of the same role, I'm going to be honest. But anyway. Yeah. Tina Fey is in it, which is cool. I didn't see her. Yeah, I don't know if there's if she was. It's quick though. The trailer's a teaser trailer. The teaser trailer moves quick. So you only get a few glimpses of some faces before
Yeah.
It's over.
She may be in, I'm looking at a cast photo. This may be her. Oh, yeah, she's like front and center in this photo. Maybe I'll use that as part of her thumbnail.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she looks great too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm excited. I love a murder mystery. We also recently rewatched Knives Out, which again, not horror, but like I just love a good murder mystery.
I get that. Yeah. I didn't know that. I'm glad you told me that. That makes me even more interested to see it.
Yeah, yeah. And,
I had
you
no
know,
idea.
and I think Agatha Christie is one of those authors that I'm always like, oh, one day I'm gonna go and like read her stuff. Because there's just such a wealth of stuff that she put out there over the years, and then like so much stuff has been adapted, and like it would be kind of cool to go back and read like the source material. Be curious how it reads, kind of from like a modern, you know, because you know, they're older novels, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But yes, but that I know that's September 15th.
In theaters.
That's in theaters.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Although I'm sure it'll be streaming much faster anyway for those who can't make it.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Movies aren't staying very long anymore, like a month sometimes, if that.
No.
It depends, I think. I think the horror movies like Evil Dead 2, maybe Scream, like the ones that are making the money, they're letting linger. But for the most part, a lot of stuff is like in and out, in and out, in and out.
There's a lot of overlap. Not a horror movie, but I know that like people were surprised how fast like the new Fast and Furious movie got put on streaming. Because there was a lot of overlap. Like it was still in theaters while it was streaming.
Yeah, that's been happening a lot more too, I think.
Yeah.
And then they do that thing sometimes where you can pay like a ticket price to watch it from home as soon as it releases through like Vudu or whatever.
Yeah, they do like the home premieres for some things.
Honestly, I wish they would do that for most things, because I'm telling you, I would pay it.
100%.
Because I can't always go, which you know that.
I would pay the movie ticket price.
I would too. The movie ticket price is not the reason I'm not going, you know, so I would absolutely pay it. I mean, Nope was like that. Nope was on both.
Yeah.
At the same time, but you had to pay like $20 to watch it. But anyway, so
totally fine. Yeah, no, totally fine with me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our first news story was recently announced at a Netflix event. Actually, Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of introduced it because he has a new movie on Netflix. I guess he has a deal with them now. Oh,
he does have that new movie.
Yeah. So funny enough that he then introduced a video which revealed that in Stranger Things 5, Linda Hamilton's joining the cast, who I love. And she is an 80s icon from Terminator. And just, you know.
I think I only know her from Terminator.
Yeah, I think that's funny. Now I'm saying that. I'm like, 80s icon. I'm trying to think what else I really know her from.
I mean, to be fair, Terminator kind of did own a lot of that time frame. It's not like, but yeah, she's great.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed, did you see the last Terminator that came out? They requeled it.
I'm thinking. The last one I saw, I don't know, probably not.
They kind of did the requel, like the Halloween requel, where she was kind of like, honestly, like a bit of a Laurie Strode.
I don't think I saw that. I think the last one I saw was the one with Emilia Clarke.
Okay. Yep. That was like was that the one with like Christian Bale as well? Or no, that might have been the one right before her.
That might have been the one before. I've seen both of those though. So whichever one of those was last. Yeah.
So this was like a direct sequel they did to T2. So
I got you. Okay. I got you. Yeah, I have not seen that one. No, I have not seen.
Surprisingly, I really liked it. But I like her. I think it's really cool to really put in an 80s icon. I mean, they already had Winona Ryder, who is an 80s icon, kind of being, you know, leading the series. I mean, apart from the kids, obviously. But like, yeah, I think it's just kind of cool to start to, you know, to incorporate. I mean, it'd be kind of, and then they had, I know you didn't see the last season. I don't know if I want to spoil the cameo for you.
Robert Englund.
Oh, okay.
I already knew that one. It was advertised like all over the dang place.
Oh, yeah. So Robert Englund showed up in the last season. So like, they just have these 80s icons. I think it's fun. It's a good kind of fan service.
Yeah.
She's a good actor. So it's not like it's not like stunt casting. It's like they're putting in someone who can do the job.
Who is talented. Yeah.
Just curious what kind of role she'll play. If she's gonna, I could see her. I feel like the easy thing to do would be to make her like a government agent. You know, someone who like from like 11's past or something. But like,
Yeah,
I hope
that's
they
true.
don't do that. I want them to give her something interesting.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they do. I mean, I'm really interested too. I have not watched season 4 because I know that it's going to be emotional and I have to be committed to that when I'm doing it. And so I'm not, I haven't watched the last season yet.
It's a ride. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the reason I haven't watched it yet, which is probably a very silly reason, but it's, I have to be in a specific state of mind to watch things that I know are going to make me feel a lot of things. And, that's actually the reason I haven't seen the Rob Pattinson's Batman, because I know I'm going to feel so many conflicting things when I watch it. And so anyway, but I will definitely get caught up eventually. I'll watch season 4, and then season 5 is currently on hold being written, right? Because the writers,
the writer's strike is putting a lot of stuff on hold.
The writer's strike, yes.
Yeah, no, it's actually a couple of stories from now that actually they in the article they also mentioned the writer's strike delaying another thing we're going to talk about. So that's yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean, obviously, just pay the people. Just
pay the writers. They're the ones making you the money. Stop it.
Right. They're the creative team. I mean, without them, I mean, come on. No. We're going to have to get AI write it, and it's not going to be good.
Oh, so. Jesus. Yeah. That's a whole nother slew of issues. Yeah. Yeah. So our second story is the new Alien film, Wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like I like the Alien franchise. I think I have seen all of them. I'm like 90% sure. But this apparently is going to be a standalone.
Yeah. Yeah. Like kind of an original standalone.
Is an interesting way to go. But I think, I don't know for sure, obviously. But I think what happened was, when they did Prometheus, which is, I don't know why so many people, I really liked Prometheus, but it seems to be like one of those divided lines of things, because it's like, I know a lot of people that hated it, people that don't acknowledge its existence. I'm like, dang, I really liked it. It was good. Anyway, so that one, when, after that happened, because they went back and it's, I think maybe they're trying to learn from this concept of like tying things together to just for the sake of tying them together. Like there's more to do. It doesn't have to tie into, things we've already experienced, things we just went through, whatever. So I think that's actually probably a really smart move. It's said to be released August 16th of next year.
Yeah, next summer.
Which is wild to think about. And then this says, in this 9th entry in the immensely popular and enduring film series, a group of young people in a distant world find themselves in a confrontation with the most terrifying life form in the universe. Rightfully so. They are scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the Alien movies. I'm not like oh my God, I love them so much, but I do really enjoy them, and I will watch them anytime they're in front of me. And so this one's kind of exciting. I mean, wrapping filming is good because, as we just mentioned previously, like the writer's strike is going to hold up a lot of stuff, and this is be cool to be able to have this too. Because I mean, I mean,
it's in the can. I mean, well, I'm sure they're editing, and so it's not completely in the can, but filming is in the can, so that's done.
Yeah, and I think we also saw too with and obviously these two franchises, I think a lot of people kind of put next to each other. They with Prey on Hulu being so successful last year, I think that for seeing what that did for the Predators franchise, I think it's really smart to do something with the Alien things. And we talk about remakes and reboots and stuff all the time, but there's nothing that says these franchises have to die. There's plenty of new ways to use these same things in different scenarios with different types of characters and different things. And
exactly, it's a whole world, a whole sandbox.
It's a whole thing, and there's quite a bit of lore to dig into as well. It's not a one-layered type of story. There's a lot going into it. They've added to it over the years. So anyway, I think that's really exciting. I like the franchise, so curious to see what it looks like when they get it out.
Yeah, it's a different take. I mean, they haven't had something like where it's like a group of young people, so I don't think they're not gonna go like a whole like YA route, right? But like
that would be disappointing.
It's not just like a military group. It's not just like a group of scientists. It's gonna be maybe like children of explorers or something, or like some kind of, you know, kids on vacation in space or something. They like, you know, hop on a ship and they're off and something happens.
A bunch of what are they called when they hide on ships and stuff? Stowaways who accidentally get left behind. That would be cool. Like you said, there's a lot of different avenues that could take.
Yeah, because like you said, it doesn't have to tie into Sigourney Weaver and Rayland and all of that. It can be because you know, the xenomorphs, they're a species, right? And they could be anywhere, right? End up anywhere. Dealing with, you know, and I think what's interesting is then, because then, you know, you have freedom to have like human drama. Then it's like, what's the human story that grounds it?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like we see in Prey, right? It's just a very different kind of dynamic. Yeah, no, you know, like you, I really like Prometheus.
I really did. I know.
But obviously they answered big questions, right? Like it was like creation of life. Like it doesn't have to be so big, you know.
You're right. You're right.
You know, like they can go smaller again, which they tried to do a little bit with Covenant. Right after that, they kind of took it and went again a little smaller with it again. I mean, still kind of branching off of that, but still,
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You know, they brought in a little more of the horror than like the sci-fi fantasy part of it.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I can't really see it because it's, you know, blurry in the background, but I have my little xenomorph pop over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recently just did a rewatch too. Of
I need to.
The original quadrilogy, like the one ending with like Winona Ryder. Recently rewatched those 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know, obviously those last 2 aren't as good as like the first 2, and I actually am one of those few. I prefer the first one to Aliens. Because I love that. I like that like claustrophobic horror from the original versus like the big action stuff.
Well, and I was going to say the first one is so slow.
It is, but slow,
comparatively speaking, and that's not a knock. What Alien does, it does very well, but it spent a lot of time creating atmosphere and investment in the characters, so that when shit hit the fan, you were invested in what was happening. You were scared for them. You were worried for them. It created a very different slew of emotions, and like you said too, is much faster.
Right. So I definitely tend to lean towards the first one. But yeah, no, I know when I think about Prometheus, I know my brain's like all over the place because you know, there's so much I love in all the different movies. But like I'll always shout out the C-section scene in Prometheus is wild. That is,
it's like, this machine is not made. I forget what it tells her, and she's like, "The hell, you're not." And she's like,
she's like, "This is calibrated for men." And I'm like,
"I know."
She's like, "What?"
That was so good, and then added to like that was a really tense moment. That one was really well done. That scene's really well done.
That scene is insane, and it is a really effective like body horror or alien horror kind of stuff. And I will defend that movie for sure.
1,000% agree. I love that one too.
Yeah. So our next story. So it's again. So this is what I was saying. So this is something that kind of is getting delayed a little bit because of the writer's strike. But Kevin Bacon is joining a Blumhouse Amazon Prime horror action series called The Bondsman, which sounds really interesting. So the premise is Bacon plays Hub Halloran, which I don't think is a reference to Dick Halloran from The Shining, but I was just thinking of Halloran. But Hub Halloran, he's a backwoods bounty hunter who comes back from the dead with an unexpected second chance at life, love, and a nearly forgotten musical career, only to find that his old job now has a demonic new twist.
Yeah.
So I guess like a demonic bounty hunter of some sort.
That's a cool concept.
Well, it's the concept of like one of my favorite video games, which is Hunt Showdown.
Oh.
Yeah, which is
but play it's not like related to this.
No, but it sounds like it. It's I imagine it's a different time. It doesn't say the time period though. So Hunt Showdown takes place in like 1800s Louisiana. And like you are like a bounty hunter, like a supernatural bounty hunter. You go into the bayou to like get your mark, but then you're also like fighting other bounty hunters to like extract with like your mark.
That's kind of cool.
So it's kind of like PvE and PvP. It's a great game.
Cool. I've never played that one.
It's so good. It's a big learning curve kind of game. It's on PlayStation and PC. I don't know if it's on Xbox. But yeah, no, and actually I think that one, there's like rumors that they're gonna do like a show or something with that game. But anyway, this I mean, what do you think about the premise? Like, I mean, or Kevin Bacon coming in? What do you?
So historically, Kevin Bacon in horror has not worked for me. Like Stir of Echoes was not so great in concept, not great execution wise. That other one he was in with the black hands all over, whatever that one was called, I'm drawing a total blank on it, where he has he's a family, he's got 2 kids, they go on this vacation, they come back, and it's like something followed them back.
Oh, I don't know. Wasn't he in Hollow Man though?
Yeah.
Also not a good one.
Rapist Invisible. Man, no thanks. Yeah. I hated that one. I absolutely hated it. I was just gonna look it up. Kevin Bacon horror movie.
I'm trying to remember what you're
Oh dang, about. He's been in so many. You Should Have Left. I have not seen. There's another one. Am I crazy? Maybe it's The Darkness.
Darkness. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, that's one with the handprints, the black handprints all over stuff. It was there. Anyway, so historically, you know, he's not really great for me in a horror setting, but doesn't mean I won't give this a chance. He was also in They Them, which I have not seen.
No, but that got flack for kind of being fake progressive.
Did it?
Yeah, like not like trying, like it thought it was, but it wasn't.
Yikes.
But he did start in Friday the 13th, so there's that.
Yeah, his deaths is one of my favorites.
It's a good one, you know, but that was, you know, that was more on everyone else versus just him specifically.
Yeah. He's in the first one, right?
He's in the first one, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is my favorite, despite no Jason. I really dig the first one. I think is just
such a great concept. Yeah.
It's so good. And I think this is where he is.
Oh, totally agree. When they do that through his neck, that's his death, right? I'm not
crazy. Yeah. When she put the spear or something through the.
So they were under the bed pushing out the stuff for the effects, and the blood wasn't working. And so the tech that was working with Tom, like, had to literally put it like last minute, super fast, put it in her mouth and went and like made all that blood come out. And it was like, it ended up being such a perfect shot, but it almost failed the first time they tried to do it. So
it's
Friday the 13th fact.
I love it.
Yeah. And I think this one probably makes sense for us to talk about, right? Because we have tattoos.
I had to put it in there when I saw it.
Of course you did. I'm like, no, it's great. I got tagged in this on Twitter, and somebody was like, "Is this you? Did you do this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, if I had that much money." So
I wish I had that disposable income,
especially for random things like this. So the Poltergeist clown from the original movie sold for $650,000 on eBay.
No, it's an auction.
An auction. Sorry.
So Prop Store, they put out. Just like they auction off stuff from all different kinds of movies. Yeah.
So, I guess not too much to say, but that's crazy to think about. Like, I don't even think about things like that even still existing in the wild. Like, they're in a movie. They're not real. You know what I mean?
Like,
and then you think about it, you're like, oh.
But it's crazy. Like, they're all just like collecting like dust in like someone's closet or like a storage unit somewhere.
Just existing.
The back of a studio. Like, I was just kind of looking through the list, like, of some of the stuff that went up for sale. Like, there was, like, the game board from Jumanji was sold. Kate Winslet's coat from the Titanic was sold. Like, a bunch of random stuff. So the board, so I'll just throw some numbers out there. So the Jumanji board game sold for $262,000. Kate Winslet's coat was 137,000. Then they had like Ewan McGregor's lightsaber from like the prequels for 118. And old stuff. Oh, and then they had one of so it was director Joe Dante's Gremlin puppet from Gremlins that sold for 93,000.
That's it?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm trying to like look for other horror.
That's a cool one though.
The bat suit for Michael Keaton was 137,000, which I feel like that should go for more. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, the Poltergeist clown, that was the highest ticket item.
That's wild.
That was the highest ticket. People wanted
wild. It. $650,000.
I know. I wish I
for
just
a
had
creepy ass possessed toy. Like, nope.
I mean, I would if I had that. I mean, then I would like. If I was that rich, then I would try to donate something too, to like offset the money spent.
Fair enough. Yeah.
That was that rich. What's another $500,000 to a charity?
Valid. No, that's true.
Yeah. So that's it for our news. I mean, so just for some like shout outs and recommendations.
Yeah.
So I was just recently listening to the soundtrack for this, and I could not remember if I had recommended this before. So I will make sure not to recommend it again after this. It is the underrated, kind of lesser known sequel to Rocky Horror Picture called Shock Treatment, and I love this movie so much. It is not streaming anywhere. You have to get like an old DVD of it on Amazon or eBay. So that's how I just found it, like an unopened DVD. I think they re-released it at some point, but then it hasn't been touched since. So there are DVDs out there, and they're cheap. I mean, I probably got it for under $10.
Yeah.
It is, there's 3 returning actors. So it's Riff Raff, Magenta, and oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. It's the 2 main maid, the butler, and then the really high squeaky pitched girl from Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Those 3 are back. And it takes place in like this like fantasy world TV studio where like the cast, the audience, everyone lives there. And it is so ahead of its time in the way that it successfully predicts reality television, consumerism, like so much. It predicts so much in such a cool way. The music is fun. It's very 80s. And it follows Brad and Janet from Rocky Horror. And they wind up at Denton, which is this fantasy suburban town in the studio.
Yeah.
And they end up on this show. And it talks about like modern relationships and mental health. And
I've never seen this.
It is so obscure and out there. It is so trippy, but it's funny, and the music's really good. They recast Brad and Janet. They're the only returning characters, but the cast is so good. Like, they're really good. Like they pick up the baton from like Susan Sarandon and I forget the guy's name, but
yeah.
And she also has a very different voice than Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon's very like soprano, like high out, and then she's more of like an alto, like much low, but it's very sultry. Like I forget her name, but she's also in like a 70s rock opera called like Phantom of the Megaplex, I think it's called, or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's another one I'm going to watch that one soon. I might recommend it, but totally recommend Shock Treatment. If anyone has not, it's like horror adjacent. It's a little more sci-fi, a little more like obscure. I think it's horror in concept and like what they're talking about, but it's not like scary. But like, yeah, no, it's the sequel to Rocky Horror, and I would totally recommend it. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. So my recommendation is a film also. It's going to piggyback off of a trailer we talked about, which was the trailer for Bad Girl Boogey. And that's So Vamp, which is on Shudder. It's a trans queer film about vampires, and it's I kind of watched it on a whim. I think I follow her, the writer director, and I'd seen it, and I was like, oh, I think I've seen this on Shudder, and I like went and watched it, and it was a blast, an absolute blast. It's comedy horror with a message, I think. But the storytelling and the kind of unique nature that one of our main characters becomes a vampire, and there's some bullying and some kind of turf things going on, and it's just a really unique take on vampires in a very openly queer storyline, which I loved. Yeah, that's all I can really say about it without giving too much away, but it's really, really well done. And I want to say, I can't remember exactly how young she was when she wrote the script for this, but I really think she said like 12 or 14 years old.
Wow.
For So Vamp. Definitely a minor, definitely, I'm pretty sure, pre-transition, like very, very young minded. And I think when you watch it knowing that, it hits a little different.
Yeah.
Just because of some of the themes and stuff that are in it. But anyway, but So Vamp, it's on Shudder, really good. Highly recommend it.
I know that's been on my queue for so
I
long.
think you'll
I need to finally like just sit down and watch it.
No, I think you'll love it. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for this episode of the Coffee Crypt. Oh, again, we are going to have the link for our merch in the description for our episodes moving forward, so you can get your own shirts, a coffee mug, and some other fun stickers and magnets and the whole shebang. So, anyway.
And you can match us. That's
right. Trendsetters.
That if I'm known for one thing, it's that.
Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us this morning. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great week coming up. And Steve and I will see you in the next one.
Bye.